It's now January, and the crew has shifted its attention back to the top of the tower, where the wind is making its presence felt. At 90 meters in the air, it's dangerous work for the crew. How safe is this streamlined, low-cost design? The elements sometimes seem to toy with the bridge, shaking it at will.
Anyone can build a bridge that will carry a given loading. But if you look at it the way some of those of us in construction look at it, it takes real craftsmen to build a bridge that will just barely carry it.
The bridge is now at its most vulnerable stage. Its 180-meter cantilevers are like kites in the wind.
There are different theories as far as how much wind the bridge can withstand. You have cable that can freely move across the pylon head. The strand actually flows through the pipe, and if you get an out-of-balance force, the strand could slip through the pipe, causing the whole bridge to rock. It'd be very disastrous. Something we don't even want to think about.
Much to everyone's relief, the girder fits in place. But the bolt holes will have to be quickly lined up before the steel expands. Even a couple of degrees difference could make it impossible. At noon, success at last. Now, for the first time, the bridge is whole, spanning the river from Illinois to Missouri. When the last concrete panels go in, Earl Dare can't resist a small boast.
No construction project is problem-free, but one thing about this structure, for the size of it and for the dollar cost, which is right at $85 million, there haven't been any major problems that we couldn't solve. My boss, Dale Clore, the district engineer, he said this could well be the first bridge built across the Mississippi on budget and on time.
But he tempted fate. In June, storm clouds gather over the bridge. The rain begins and doesn't stop. The river runs faster, fueled by the storms that sweep in from the west. Only 3 kilometers from the bridge, the river rises 4.5 meters. People are used to floods here, but this is a deluge. There's a growing sense of helplessness. The neighboring town of Grafton is overcome. Downriver, in Alton, a new levee is hastily built. Sandbags are filled by hundreds of volunteers, adults and children alike, day and night. The levee is set back about 60 meters from the river bank, By the middle of July, it's 2.5 meters high and 300 meters long. Everything on the river side of the levee is given up for lost. The river is so high now, the Missouri approach is in danger. Its construction site is already underwater. It can only be reached by boat.
One-way traffic!
Long maligned as a bottleneck, the old bridge has become Alton's saviour. But the situation grows worse daily. The flood is the worst in 500 years. Thousands of houses are lost. Property damage is in the billions, from Minnesota to Kentucky. 1,280 kilometers of devastation. More than 50 people died as a result. All the valiant efforts are in vain. Water pours through underground utility tunnels and floods the streets behind the levee. The construction schedule for the bridge is defunct.
Well, we're sitting on the approach to the Missouri approach to the Clark Bridge, and as you can see, everything's flooded. Both the Highway 67, which was our access to the job site, as well as the new Highway 67, which is yet to be built. Both are flooded, so we have absolutely no access to the project. The impact on us has been substantial. No work is going on, yet our overhead continues to go on. From a more humanistic standpoint, the flood has put some 60 or 70 people out of work. So needless to say, that hurts.
The main span is also damaged. The crew can hardly do any work, and there is an eerie stillness at the site. They are so close to finishing, and yet time is running out. If they can't finish before winter, they could be shut down until spring. In mid-September, the waters finally receded, and the monumental cleanup began. The losses in business and property were immense. As the town ponders its economic future, the completion of the bridge takes on even greater urgency.
The world's most incredible machines. How does it feel to be in control?
As you're flying through the air, it's quite a sensation, and sometimes it can actually feel like you're slow motion.
And how does it feel to lose control? Extreme Machines, Tuesdays at 9 on Discovery Channel.
Construction resumes on the Illinois approach at maximum speed. crew works 16-hour days, getting the road deck ready for its final infill of concrete. They begin before dawn on the day of the pour. The concrete they'll be laying down is a special type that can't be used if the temperature rises above 90 degrees. But at dawn, the forecast predicts an unseasonably hot day. Hot enough to ruin the pour. And what's more, there's trouble on the old bridge, which the lorries delivering the concrete have to cross. A distraught man is threatening to jump. There is a huge traffic jam as the police try and talk him down. The lorries are hopelessly stuck. Their loads are ruined. The pour will have to be cancelled. The next morning, the crew tries again. But the temperature threatens to be even higher. The first load of concrete arrives at 4 a.m. Early in the morning, the flow of work is smooth and steady. But by the afternoon, the crew is feeling the strain.
Air temperature is getting close to 95 degrees right now, and they're starting to show some wear and tear. We've got about 250 feet of concrete out on the deck so far. About noon, we were a little concerned. Our concrete temperatures were getting kind of high. They were approaching 90 degrees, which is our limit. However, the concrete plant added some more ice, and we're able to get the mix temperature down considerably. So we're going to continue pouring until about 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Let's figure it out first, man. Let's figure out what we're going to do. Heater on fire. Look like a raccoon when I go home. It's going to be hot or cold? I'd rather be cold.
Most of these fellas got out of bed about 3 in the morning. They were on the job anywhere from 4 to 5 this morning. We've been pouring concrete since 6, and about 3 o'clock they'll all be beat.
Everyone is feeling the pressure. The contractors could face a penalty of $4,000 a day if they don't finish by December the 21st.
The foreman, various superintendents, they're here around 6 in the morning, sometimes even as early as 4 o'clock in the morning. It's some very, very long days. We had originally figured that we should be totally completed with this job, everything, this past summer. But you don't expect a 500-year flood. There's no way of anticipating that. You don't expect a year with twice or more than twice the normal rainfall. We didn't expect sunken barges. There's several things we didn't expect, and you don't make up for it. A job that was intended to be a normal business venture with an appropriate amount of profit turns out to be, at best, a non-profit operation.
I guess you could say it starts to make an old man out of you. There are days when I feel like that this would. I'm not so sure I'd want to try this again.